So I said I'd update you guys on the warranty claims I was talking about in yesterday's video. So this is not going to make a lot of sense to you unless you regularly watch Chop's Garage and you're keeping it on top of the daily updates. So we had a waft of warranty claims I told you about in the video yesterday. Some of them weren't actually warranty claims with the lady that just actually ran out of fuel. We had the uh, oxygen sensor we just needed to clear the code on. That was fine. And that was due to something that happened with the vehicle while they were driving. And we were left with a couple more, which was the Hyundai i40 that had potentially a timing chain noise, and my friend with the Kia Sportage 1.6 GDI, the only Sportage I've ever sold with a petrol engine. So update on a couple of those. So the i40 we know is booked in. I suspect it's going to end up being a timing chain tensioner. Now, in that case, the gentleman had told me that there was a fault with the vehicle, or potential fault with the vehicle, early on, a month or so into his ownership, that was making a bit of a noise, but it wasn't making enough of a noise to us to identify what the problem was. And we said if it got worse, we'd then take a look at it, because then we'd be able to actually properly identify what the fault was rather than guessing at the moment. So that's why we're doing that work for him, even though he's had the vehicle for nearly 6 months now, because it was a fault that was highlighted early on. Now, the GDI, I've had a phone call on that today, or a message from my friend today on that, and he's taken it down to the guys at Boards in Bideford, another one of my recommended garages. They're a good garage. And they've had a look at it. They've done a little compression test on it, and they said that the fault that was coming up was it had a misfire on cylinder number 3. And they've done a check on the spark plug, and the spark plug was cracked. So they've done a check on it, and the compression on number 3 is actually low. Now, the significance of that is that when I bought that vehicle, if you remember back when I got that vehicle, it had a warning for low compression. Sorry, it had a misfire on it, and I thought it was just a coil pack or a spark plug, which is why I bought the car. But when we put it into the garage, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? It's always like that. Oh, it does this, but I'm sure it's an easy fix kind of thing. You've got to think, why did someone not just get that coil pack or that spark plug changed before they part exchange the vehicle? Well, because there's more to it than that, as it always is. So if anybody ever offers you a car, it's an easy fix. Well, go away and do the fix. I'll pay you a little bit more for it. Anyway, so I had it checked out, and we had, and if I remember now, I recall, we did have low compression on one of the cylinders, I believe. And then I used to have that mobile mechanic lad that's too busy to work for me now. He did a full strip down on it, and we had the head skim down at Barham Engines. We put on a new timing chain, and I think he replaced a valve then. He thought it might be the fuel pump at first, but then he replaced a valve on it, put it all back together again, and it ran nicely. It's been 11 months on now, and the customer's got a Martina, yeah, my mate's daughter, has got this misfire, and they've gone in and they've found this cracked spark plug, but they've also found that cylinder is low on compression. So the significance of that is that is now considered a pre-existing fault. And it's only fair to consider it a pre-existing fault. I don't need a law to tell me that, but the law does say that if you can prove a fault existed at point of sale, you're not limited to 6 months to make a claim against the dealer. You can actually, theoretically, I think it's as long as 5 years, be able to do it. Anywhere up to 5 years, be able to make a claim for it. But you've got to be able to prove the fault existed at point of sale. So in this scenario, did the fault exist at point of sale? Well, no, because we'd done the valve, changed it, and the engine was running right. But whatever it was, didn't totally solve it, because it's now 11 months on and the problem's reoccurred again. Now, my feeling is, and I spoke to the mechanic about it, and looking into this GDI engines, is that we might have a faulty injector potentially putting too much fuel in that cylinder, and that's what's burning the valve out. Because we know the valve was good, we replaced it. We know the timing chain is good, we replaced it. We know the fuel pump's good because we replaced that when we shouldn't have replaced it. So there aren't really many other things left, unless there is something, stuff is getting, we're losing compression past the ring, but that wouldn't burn the valve out. Losing compression past the, unless someone wants to correct me, losing compression past the rings on the piston wouldn't burn the valve out, as far as I'm aware. Correct me if I'm wrong, but over fueling would. So it's quite possible that's the case. So I've had a conversation with my mate Ian, gas guy. I'll put a link to his videos down below. He does little tours of now, if you remember, Ian is also, just before I go into what conversation I had, Ian is also the chap that bought the BMW 1 Series off me. I'm not having a lot of luck with him. He bought the BMW 1 Series off me and the timing chain started to go bad on that at about 8 months, didn't it? So I helped him out with that one on the timing chain side of things. So I'm not, this is why I said to you before, you've got to sell cars to friends at full price and leave yourself all the margin in, because you're going to help them probably more than anybody else. Yeah, I've had a chat with Ian, and I've also had a chat with Boards, as I said, the mechanics, and they've put a new spark plug. At the moment, the car's running okay. He said there's still, you're still going to obviously have the burnt out valve. You're still going to have low compression in that cylinder. He said, but obviously a car can run with lower compression in the cylinder, just run as efficiently as it should. Anyway, I've had a conversation with Ian. He's going to have a chat with Martin, decide what they want to do. So the options are: I take the car back in, and we give them a different car. We do a deal on a different car, presumably. Um, Find something that suits them, and then I go on and do the repair, or I trade the car out with it as a known fault, or that we get into it, take the head off, have just confirmed that that valve is burnt out, and then send the injector off to have the injector tested to see if that's okay. I don't see we should need to do anything else while we're in there, because all the other components were new. We had all new gaskets, we had new timing chain, everything. I think it would be over the top replacing those items as we went along. What was going to cost to be going to take? I mean, I'm going to estimate 500 quid or so. Estimate that. Maybe like 10 hours of trade labour to do it. I don't think we should necessarily need any parts unless we need a new injector. Obviously, like I said before, on used cars around about the sort of, this price point, the under the 10k, if you end up with a net margin and net profits, that's after your VAT, after your taxes, after your overheads, advertising, prep, all that, if you end up with 10% net, you're doing all right. So that is going to take a very hefty chunk out of that car. Now, I know we normally get in the comments now someone saying to me, oh, you might as well give it up, all your cars come back to you, oh, your cars are like boomerang cars, this, that and the other. Obviously you guys are only really interested in the cars that have issues. There's no point me telling you about all the cars that don't have issues. We're selling probably 200 or plus more cars a year, and I really only have cause to speak to you about maybe a couple of warranty claims in reality per month. Some of them the same ones I'm talking to you over and over again. I think in reality the warranty claim rates are probably less than 5%, I'd say. And within those stories, there's a lot of cases where they're not actually warranty claims, they're not valid warranty claims. They're not actual faults with the cars. They might be wear and tear items that people are hoping I'm going to pay for months and months after the sale of the vehicle. Or like I say, it turns out that there isn't a fault with the vehicle at all. But I tell you about all of them because I know you find them interesting. So in reality, there isn't a huge portion of the cars that come back. But the trouble is, like I say, if you do get one back, it can wipe out the profit off a couple of car deals. But one of the important takeaways from this is, if you are buying a used vehicle and early on you think there might be an issue, but it's not quite enough to say, okay, I need to get the car back to the dealer. There might be a little noise that happens every now and then. Just make sure you bung them an email. Make sure you just let them know that you're having this issue. You think there may be an issue, but you're not sure if it's worth looking into or not yet. They might want to take a look at it. Or they might say, like I did to this other chap with the i40, wait a little while longer for us to be able to diagnose what it is. Just make sure you record it though. Make sure you do it in a format that's recordable, because then if you do have that issue later on, it is fair for you to go back and say, I did highlight this fairly early on. I know it's 3, 4, 5 months on or later, but I think we've got a more serious issue now that we need sorting. It's definitely worth making sure you get that noted very early on. Now you catch me, just so I've remembered something quite important. I did a video a little while ago saying, is this the best customer ever or best customer of the month? And there was a chap called Sam who bought a VW Golf off me, and he had a problem with the bonnet not being able to open. The cable went on the bonnet, broke. Obviously it was working when the car went out because we could get in the bonnet. We did pictures of the bonnet for the video, and we did a service on the car, so we were able to get into the bonnet, so it clearly happened afterwards. Anywho, so he had the car for a little while. Then he messaged to say the bonnet wouldn't work. And if you remember, the reason I said it was customer of the month was that rather than take it to a garage, he decided to have a go at fixing it himself, because he said, as far as I can see, the only way to get to it is to hack into the grille. So, but I've looked on YouTube, and there's a way, if you put wood wedges in to get the bonnet up enough, you can get a 10mm spanner in and undo it and undo the bonnet. And I was like, wow, a customer that wants to try and fix something for themselves, that's amazing. Not just coming straight back to me, and he'd said as well, it's fair wear and tear. These kind of things happen. And then he went on to actually do the repair, updated me, and when I asked him if I owed him anything, he said no, not at all. It's only just dawned on me that we did something special with his deal.
And I told you about it a while back, and I think we've all forgotten about it. Now, do you remember how I argue all the time that if you want a discount on a car, on a used car, you shouldn't ask for one, because if the car needs a repair, you're going to ask for them to fix it. So they need that margin in the car to be able to be the kind of dealers that fix the car without question. So Sam, when he negotiated the deal on the car, wanted to do a discount, and I remember saying exactly that to him. And if you remember, when I did the deal, what I said to him was, the only way I could give you a discount is if you didn't claim in that period. And the fact is, if something breaks, you're going to want to claim, so I'll end up giving you a discount and you're going to claim anyway. And he suggested something, and we agreed between us, first time I've ever done it, gentleman's agreement, that if he were not to claim anything within the 3-month warranty I gave, he would then get the discount he wanted, because I hadn't had to spend the money on the car. So I'd completely forgotten that. So that is the reason that he was so keen to do the repair himself, thinking about it. I think he might be a decent chap anyway. I think, to be fair, he gives me the feeling of the kind of chap that even if we hadn't had that agreement, he'd probably had a go at doing it. But it is interesting, isn't it? Because I guess he was thinking all the time that I was thinking, if I do repair for him, that discount is out the window now. I think it was £200. That discount is out the window now. I won't get that £200. So if I can fix it for myself, I want to keep that £200 in my pocket, or I'm going to receive that £200. So he's probably thinking all along that's what I was thinking. I'd completely forgotten about it. I hadn't looked at his invoice. I'd completely forgotten about it. But that must play a part in his motivation as to why I went ahead and fixed it. It makes you wonder if you... I'm not suggesting I do this a lot going forwards. I think it'd be a bad move. I don't know where... I'd probably fall foul of trading standards for doing it if I did it on invoices all the time. I mean, I guess there's nothing stopping you putting a line there saying there's a bonus or a cash back. Lots of other industries give you cash back, don't they, later on, if you don't make a claim. I wonder how many people it would make them sort of not bother with these minor things, or try and attempt to get things sorted themselves. Interesting one, isn't it? But I just thought I'd just catch it on camera with you, because it only just struck me as I was walking around. I was thinking about that. It only twigged. Didn't I give him a discount if he didn't make any claim for any repairs?